come from chanting. So we're hearing about that, and we're hearing about how to get those spiritual benedictions by avoiding the offenses. So we're just coming to the end of this, I think. We're on, which let's just backtrack, see what offense we're on. Equating chanting with pious activities. So a couple of pages of that.
Which page we are on? Oh.
Right? So
I'm
let's pray to
looking at the book.
Nama Om Vishnu Bhattaya Krishna Vastai Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namo. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravan Sunivari Pashtatara Satarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Sai Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. Yes, I'm talking about we shouldn't be attentive while chanting the holy name. I was just questioning myself whether I'm being attentive in saying the prayers to Srila Prabhupada. I just said those prayers so mechanically, and I'm adjusting a fan at the same time. I was going to ask, did I say those prayers correctly?
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Actually, I heard it yesterday as well. You know, when we're doing tilaks on our body,
Yeah.
you know, you sort of, you go into auto Om Keshwaya Om Narayana Madhav, you know, you kind of,
Yeah.
you know, we should be more attentive, you know.
Same with Achman as well.
Yeah, I heard that again yesterday. You hear it, but when you hear it, you kind of, okay, I'll focus. And then you go back to your old ways, you know.
That is why one of the reasons why, it's, for instance, doing Achman, it's stipulated that you sit down because it helps to aid concentration. It helps to, it's like when you're doing worship in the morning, when you're worshipping your deity, generally devotees will sit down, well, not during arti, but when you're doing your puja. It just helps to aid meditation, but sometimes it's not possible. Sometimes our knees won't allow us to sit down.
And as you get old, you sit down and then you'll be thinking of how my knees hurting, my back's hurting, this, what thing
But
do
I find myself, practically speaking, for me, it helps if I sit down and do Achman, and my concentration is a lot better than if I'm standing up. Yeah, it's just, and it's there. It's good. All right, so let's continue reading here then. Here, I made a highlight here. So let's have some hands up to read. Chandravali Mavi, you have your hand up first. You can continue here. The holy name is fully spiritual.
Yeah, chapter 12.
I have no idea.
11, chapter 11.
Oh, chapter 11. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have a hard copy. Anyway, you can read it.
My paragraph starts with the holy name is the means of sadhana. So the paragraph before, I'll just read that, which is out of, and that's the whole paragraph. Out of his causeless compassion, the Supreme Lord incarnated as the holy name, making himself available to the jivas. Thus the holy name is accepted by the pious jivas as the best means of perfection. The scriptures recommend the Lord's name as the most efficacious means to obtain the absolute. But the jivas,
No, I can't see where you're reading from, Mother.
just go down to the paragraph before that.
Before, go down means go
Third para.
up.
Third
Go
para.
back.
Third para. Third para. The first.
Oh, I've got it. Okay, carry on. Found it.
Okay, this misconception is similar to Lord Vishnu being seen as another demigod like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma. Right, now we're back to the holy name. The holy name is fully spiritual and transcendental to material nature. It is untainted by matter. Though the jiva is spiritual, he thinks himself material due to gross ignorance. Consequently, he thinks that everything, including the holy name of the Lord, is likewise material. Thus, chanting of Lord Krishna's holy name came to be categorized as a subkarma. Oh, we talked about that, yeah, subkarma.
Yeah, perhaps we'll just stop at the end of this paragraph to be clear on what that is.
Okay,
Yeah,
distinguished jivas with Mayavadi learnings and convinced that this is right and proper. But those who adhere to this view are excluded from the path of devotional service.
Okay, so this subhakama, it was described as activities which can help situated in a mode of sattva. Yeah, cleanliness, regulation, etc., pious deeds. So that's called subhakama. So, and in a mode of goodness, one may be attracted to devotees or may be attracted to devotional principles. So in that sense, it's more favorable than being in the lower modes of nature. Although someone in a mode of ignorance or passion can also become attracted to devotional service. That's the nature of devotees and devotional service. But definitely, as we're also, once we join and we take up Krishna consciousness, we understand that to help us chant, we have to, it helps to be in sattva. But these are subhakama. You could say there's sub-religious principles. So to think that the holy name is in the same category as these subhakama, it's not. And to think it is offensive. It's equating something that's completely spiritual. That's why it says here, the name is completely spiritual. Is to then degrade it, so-called, to just another pious act. But it's not. It's completely transcendental. So, all right, is that clear? Yeah. Remember we discussed that shubha karma. So it's not just a pious act. It's some people will chant the holy name for that, just so that they can be chased to the Vedas, or they can invoke good piety, wealth, position, etc. They don't understand the principle of the holy name being completely transcendental and spiritual. So for those people who are chanting with that mentality, they are not going to get the topmost goal of chanting, which is love for Krishna. Yeah, because that's an offense considered here. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can if there's any questions on that or comments, you can. If not, you can continue, Mother Chandravala.
Okay. The name is both the means and the end. The holy name is the repository of perfect bliss. He has descended to this material world to become the means by which the summum bonum of bhakti is attained. The scriptures eulogize.
They praise, they glorify. Let's just check that. You can see the dictionary definition: eulogize, praise highly in speech or writing. There you go.
Okay.
He was eulogized as a rock star. Okay, let's get rid of that dictionary now.
The scriptures eulogize his divine glories. For Krishna's name is both the means and the end. According to the individual jiva's degree of spiritual perfection, he considers the Lord's name to be either the means or the end. As long as he has not attained self-realization, the holy name as the means to reach this goal. Subkarma is the
holy name. Yeah, but it is the goal. We understand that, yeah.
It is the goal, yes.
It's the means and it's the ends.
Yes.
Hmm.
Subkarma is secondary. The holy name is the principal means. Yeah, this is what you just explained here.
Yeah.
The means to self-realization are two kinds, principal and secondary. Subkarma is the secondary means, and the Lord's holy name is the principal means. Though the holy name is counted as a means, it is nevertheless eternally the principal means. All subkarmas are always considered to be only secondary means. Once this point is clearly understood, the difference between the holy name and subkarma will automatically become manifest. the scriptural verdict is that the holy name is the essence, and it is thus incomparable to any subkarma. One who chants with a pure heart experience how divine bliss enters his heart and makes it soar with sublime delight. This is the essential nature of the holy name. Even the bliss of realizing the pure self is not on this level.
Right, so there isn't any super karma, there is no pious activities that can give you the same experience that's described here. Sublime delight. Yeah. No pious activity can actually do that because it's material in essence. So it cannot reinstate the soul in its loving relationship with Krishna. Yeah. All right. I hope we've, to one degree or another, we may have experienced this sublime delight to one degree or another. Some of us to some degree. Yeah, that's what comes from chanting without offense. So we may experience this to a different degrees. But if we keep chanting, then it will be, then we can experience where heart can soar with sublime delight. This is pure chanting. Okay, continue unless there's any questions or complaints about that's not happening yet.
I was just thinking something. You know, when some who are not kind of Krishna conscious, but they, because you ask them to chant, so they chant, like my sister is chanting, right?
Yeah.
Mantra. So then those people would think of it as getting piety, would they not? Or would they get love of God eventually? I don't. What
No.
them?
No. That's what's being stated here.
Right?
That's what's being stated here. And that's unless they and until they come to knowledge of the holy name itself. Although the holy name will have its effect, but the effect will be as we described in Namabas. Even they can get liberation, even they can be free from the influence of malefic planets, etc. They can become free from all sinful reactions. So that's called Namabas, but they cannot get prema.
Okay.
They're not going to get prema. They get, but Namabas, remember we described about Namabas? There's quite a lot to be obtained just by in the clearing stage, but not prema, but not love for Gopal, not love for Krishna.
Yeah. Right. And is it, so then they are still a little bit better than those who just think about going to the holy places and have a bath here, or yes, I've been here, I've been there to all the holy places, things like that, because they're still chanting the holy name.
But yeah, I mean, if those holy places are the places of Krishna's pastimes and Leela, then that will have its effect. Of course, that will have a very much a purifying effect. But actually, the real fruit will come when they meet a pure Vaishnava, who will then explain to them about the glories of the holy name, and the glories of the holy name as being the main means to obtain prema. So then their motivation for chanting will change. Yeah. I mean, that's why these 10 offenses are being described, because these 10 offenses, if you think about it, these are dealing with these are dealing with the mentality towards the name. It's your attitude towards the name that's being addressed here. If you have the wrong attitude, or you have the wrong understanding about the holy name, then you're not going to get the full effect. You are going to get the effect because it's Chintamani. So Chintamani is like a touchstone. Anyone who comes in touch with the holy name, they get benefit. But to what degree do they get benefit? Yeah. And the only place you don't get benefit is Namaparad. Yeah, Nama Parad, Nama Bas, and Sudanam. Nama Parad, you can, yeah, you're actually being offensive. You're conscious, yeah, you're being offensive to Krishna, you're being offensive to the holy name, like the Mayavadis, yeah. So you're not going to get the auspicious results that come from Nama Bas, what to speak of Krishna Prema.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Right.
I was thinking that like every evening she would go up and chant the Panchatattva and the Mahamantra 1-2 runs. And then she says, oh, but I have to do my Hanuman Chalisa and things like that. So I was just thinking, when will it purify that she doesn't need to do other things and just take up chanting more?
Well, basically more the purification will probably take place a lot quicker, actually, in your association. You know, you can give her prashadam when she's chanting, yeah, great. But the more she associates and the more she might hear from you about, to one degree or another, the science of bhakti, the science of chanting.
Okay,
But
so
these things you can't force people.
no,
You
no,
have to
no.
be, yeah, as you know,
Yeah.
at least going in the right direction.
Yes, 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 yes. We got her to wear Tulsi neck beads, and that was on the pretext that, oh, if you wear that, the Yamadutas don't come.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay, go on.
anyway, the joy of Sahyuja Mukti is a mere shadow. The state of joy experienced in Brahman realization or Sahyuja liberation is merely the cessation of material suffering. The unlimited abundance of sublime bliss in the holy name of the Lord is far greater than anything. The wonderful quality of the holy name is that during sadhana practice period, it is a means, and in the perfected stage, it is the ultimate goal. Even while being utilized as the means, the holy name always remains the goal. This cannot be said of this cannot be said of other subkarmas, which are all mundane activities. The holy name is purely spiritual, self-manifested out of divine goodness. Even during the practice of sadhana, the holy name is situated in pure goodness. The sadhaka's imperfections and anarthas only seem to color it.
Yeah, okay, so it's being then expressed here, like if you do a pious act, it creates a seed where that eventual piety may manifest, it will manifest even this life, but more likely in the next life, the actual result of that pious. So the means is different than the ends. There's a big difference there. You know, if for instance, if you give money to open a hospital somewhere, you know, it's not like as soon as you give the money, you're going to get the benefit. You're not. It's going to take time to fructify, you know. But the holy name is not like that. It is the means and the ends. It's not like you're doing a mundane, calm, pious activity. It's fully divine when you chant it, when you begin chanting it, and it's fully divine when you reach the goal. But having said that, the sadhaka described here, we put a cloud over and we seem to cover it, although it's not actually covered, just like the sun seems to be covered by clouds, but it's not. It's just due to our relative position in relationship to the sun that it seems like clouds have covered the sun. But the sun is always the sun. So the holy name is always the holy name. But we put a covering over our eyes so we cannot perceive the real glory of the holy name. It's not the holy name that is missing anything. It's just that we're seeing it from our kind of offensive, subjective position. Right? So, yeah. Okay, continue. Let's.
The holy name must be chanted in the association of sadhus. Then all the material inebriaties and anarthas disappear, being replaced by the pure name of Krishna. The practice of this subkarma must be
Right.
discarded upon attainment of the shelter of the ultimate destination. But chanters never have to give up the holy name. They simply chant the pure name in the perfected state. The Lord's holy name is diametrically opposite in nature to the mundane subkarma activities. In the sadhana stage, the devotee should, by the grace of his spiritual master and on the basis of Vedic proofs, comprehend the difference between the holy name and subkarma.
Okay, so this word subakam keeps coming up. This means pious acts. I guess this is what this offense is about. So we're being asked here, it's part of the responsibility for a sadhaka to meditate and understand the difference between the holy name and pious activities. Yeah. The sadhaka stage, that's up to us. That's what it's about. The sadhakas is we're understanding the real, we're trying to understand the kind of understand what is the holy name. So we have to apply ourselves, and that's what we're doing now. We're reading the Harinam Chintamani. So this may be felt subtly or grossly, but this study we're doing it will help our chanting. Yeah. Maybe subtle or it may be gross. So we may have some subtle misconceptions about the holy name. Or we might not really be fully appreciate the glories of the holy name. But the more we hear about the glories of the holy name, then when we chant, that will help us to be a little bit more attentive, a little bit more respectful, a little bit more attentive to that sound vibration. Like perhaps there's no hands up, so I'll jump in and read. And if anyone wants to read after,
can I quickly just, that
yes, please.
eighth offense, like to consider chanting of the holy name like an auspicious, like what he says in Come. Just those few sentences and how it is explained here, the whole process kind of thing, what Subha and Makanda thing is.
Yeah, it opens it up more. That's why this study is good. Because we just hear that and we can say it in 1 second, but
and you don't
really
think, you just say it, but it makes a lot of understanding a lot more,
Yes, so we don't discourage people to do super karmas. Depends on their situation. So for some, it's good to encourage righteous, good acts, but we should never confuse it with being of the same nature as chanting the holy name. That's why it's good to encourage people to do, persons who have no inclination towards bhakti. It's good to encourage them. It depends who you're speaking to. For some, it might be too much too soon to speak to them about bhakti. So for some, it might be good to encourage them in charitable acts. And Krishna does that in Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, the famous series of verses, where first of all, he encourages Arjuna to completely absorb his mind and intelligence in Krishna. Then he says, if you can't do that, then at least engage in sadhana bhakti and develop a desire to do that. If you can't do that, then at least work for me. We know these verses, chapter 12. And if you can't work, even if you can't work for me, then at least you should act, give some charity somewhere to someone. So so the same principle. So just bringing that up because we're speaking good. And when we're speaking about the holy name, we're comparing it to pious acts and we're hammering pious acts as being nothing compared to the holy name. But pious acts are better than impious acts, that's for sure. But it's nothing like chanting the holy name. Yeah. All right. So which paragraph here? Is it Shraddha? Yeah. Shraddha, when sufficiently mature, brings one to the association of sadhus. In that association, one begins devotional service. The heart is cleansed of all anarthas by chanting the holy name of the Lord. As much as the heart is cleansed of anarthas, to that degree the chanting becomes pure. Gradually, one is fixed in devotion and develops taste for the holy name. The knowledge of these devotional stages, interesting here, the knowledge of these developmental stages must first be understood with faith by the sadhaka through the grace of his spiritual master. Otherwise, his anarthas will multiply due to his committing nam aparad. But with proper understanding and faith, the pure name manifests very quickly. Okay? So there's a prolification of here, a prolification of anarthas if we're not careful. You know what prolification means? It means it's expanding everywhere. Yeah. So we want to avoid that. Yeah. With proper understanding of the tattva of the name. Yeah. The apparat of equating the holy name with subhada is committed because of sinful activities. Immediate countermeasures must be undertaken. Okay, so what to do if one is in that mentality or one is thinking like that? So now it's going to be explained. Offenses to the Vaishnavas are in fact sinful activities. As a result of these offenses, the jiva acquires the perverted half-hearted understanding of the holy name. Only the association of devotees can exculpate such offenses. I guess that means can show, declare that someone is not guilty. Okay, interesting, but to rid himself of Namaparad, one must approach a household Vaishnava who originally came from a very low caste. This is to stamp out any false understandings of designation and caste distinctions. The offender should then smear all over his body with great respect and faith the dust of the feet of that Vaishnava. He must also eat the remnants of the Vaishnava's food and drink the water that washed his feet. In this way, the proper attitude toward the holy name will again develop within the offender's heart. The whole world sings of how Kalidas was saved from this Namaparad by the mercy of the Lord. And very nice. As I was reading that paragraph, I was thinking of this pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita and trying to think of his name. And this is it here. This is Kalidas. Can anyone tell us a little bit about this story of Kalidas from Chaitanya Charitamrita?
Yeah, weren't they? He was like touring around with Lord Chaitanya, and a group of I don't know, were they gypsies? The equivalent, kind of like.
This is a different personality.
No, that's not Kalidas, is he?
That's Krishna. Somebody else.
Yeah, no, it's another. I can give some clues.
Yeah.
Mangoes.
Oh, the one who bought mangoes and took it to Vaishnav house, and then they would eat, and when they throw the stones and that out, he would go and have that as Mahaprasad.
Yes, that's the story. I think everyone knows that story. We've heard that. Wonderful. And he, because of that mentality, how was he blessed by Lord Chaitanya? Because he had this mentality. I'm testing your Chaitanya Charitamrita now.
This is how he lived, though. He lived on Vaishnav Mahaprasad.
Yeah, that was his thing, to get somehow or another get the remnants. But because of this mentality, Lord Chaitanya, when he would visit the Puri temple, he always had strong-bodied servants around him to make sure no one took the water that bathed his feet. Because to get into the Puri temple, at least at that time, might be now, I don't know. But obviously they walk with bare feet. But you have to walk through some water. Yeah?
Yeah.
So your feet get cleansed before you enter the temple. So Lord Chaitanya's servants would form a circle around him. So everyone wouldn't go berserk and dive at that water and drink it as he walked through it. But then Kalidas came, and Lord Chaitanya stopped these servants from interrupting him getting that water, because Lord Chaitanya was pleased with his mentality that he had towards Vaishnavas. Very nice story. And what's significant which is very much mentioned in the paragraph that we just read, because he did exactly that. Now, Kalidas came from a very high Brahminical lineage, very highly produced Brahmin family, and he became a Vaishnava. But he would go to Vaishnavas from Sudra caste, and he would get their remnants. You understand? So a big thing in very strict cultural setting of India at that time. Probably other Brahmanas would be horrified. Those ignorant, with Mayavadi concepts. So he would go, and as you know, he would implore, and as Chandravali said, then he would buy some mangoes, give it to the Vaishnava, who is transcendental, but he came from a low-class family. And then he would wait and hide behind the wall or something. And when, as we know, in India, the habit is to throw these things out. Put it out, they call it. Put it out. So put it out. And then he would come, when they went inside, he would jump over the wall and get the remnants and lick them up. And he became full of ecstasy for that. So he was making no distinctions whatsoever between one Vaishnava and another Vaishnava, because to make those distinctions is offensive. So interesting how this is the pious chitta that's described as someone who wrongly considers Subhat Karma to be equal to the holy name. They have to go to a Vaishnava from a very low caste and smear the dust over his body, eat remnants of his food, etc. So that's what. Now, Kalidas did this not because he had made offenses to the holy name, but here Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Haridas Thakur used this as an example. So you can read about that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, wonderful pastime, Kalidas. So now we all know about Kalidas, a little bit. You can read more. Yeah. So you can imagine in the strict caste system, there we say that word, that is there in India. For a high-class Brahmin to do something like that would send shockwaves through the community.
Yeah.
Probably that Brahmin would be rejected by these ignorant kind of Mayavad, smarter Brahmins. No one would even look him in the eyes anymore. He'd be shunned. Such is the social setting, All right. So let's just read to the end here. My dear, and this is coming from Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think. Anyway, my dear Lord, my thoughts and my intellect are thoroughly mundane. Therefore, I simply mouth the names of the Lord. I am too unfortunate to experience the transcendental touchstone quality of the holy name. O Lord, I beg you to please appear as the holy name and dance on my tongue. I fall at your lotus feet and pray. No, this is not from Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is okay. You can keep me in this material world and deprive me of the spiritual sky. Whatever you desire, you are free to fulfill. but please let me taste the divine nectar of Krishna's holy name. You have incarnated amongst the jivas to distribute the holy name. So kindly also consider me an insignificant jiva. I am a fallen soul, and you are a savior of the fallen. Let this be our relationship. O Savior, on the strength of this relationship, I am begging from you the nectar of the holy name. In Kali Yuga, all other processes except the holy name are incapable of redeeming the fallen souls. Therefore, the chanting of the holy name is the Yugatam. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the most efficient religious practice in all the ages. Kali Yuga, unlike other ages, there is no other religion available. Thus, the holy name appears as the only religion that can redeem the fallen souls. I, Bhaktivinoda Hold, am a lowly fallen soul. The author who gives Harinam Chintamani, am also a humble servant of Haridas Thakur. Yeah, so just reflecting back to this pastime of Kalidas, there's a wonderful conversation where Kalidas is speaking with, who's come again from a high-class Brahmin family, and he's begging this Vaishnava from a low-class family to actually give him the remnants, his remnants. So of course, they're both very humble. So this so-called low-class, so-called Vaishnava starts quoting from scripture how he's so low-born, he's so sinful, and he's this and that. And then Kalidas comes back with quotes glorifying anyone who chants the holy name is considered to be pure. So this is wonderful, sweet conversation that they have. So this is also interesting here. You see this prayer here. There's actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur is praying. He's written a prayer to the holy name. So as part of our process, as we know, of Vandanam. So I know Satyananda Maharaj does this as well in his holy name retreats, but it's very good. For instance, after this class or before you chant, you can pray, write a prayer to the holy name. Read this here and get the mood and get the idea of it and write your own personal prayer to the holy name. Yeah, and which make a specific sankalpa of a prayer, praying to the holy name. Please let me taste divine nectar, but you may do it in your own words. Yeah, my dear Lord, if you've been chanting 15 years, 10 years, my dear Lord, I'm such a wretch. I've been chanting your holy name for 10 years, and I continue to be inattentive and offensive, bowing down before you. I beg you, please show me the way. Please reveal your glories to me. Yeah. Actually, try praying to the holy name, or something you might be doing already. But that's one exercise you might want to do. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur is doing, he's showing us the mood and the approach to the holy name, which is in great humility, begging for some mercy. Any comments on that or questions?
I always think, I don't know what you think, like praying to the Acharya, 6 Goswamis before.
Yes.
Is that because they've all got the holy name, like praying to Haridas Thakur as well? I mean, they've got the holy name, so they can like impart the holy name to you.
Yeah.
Beg for it.
So different ways. Yeah, different ways you can do that. You can do it like mentally, or you can actually write your own prayers down, you know, and express your heartfelt desire.
And I also like to kind of say a couple of lines of that bhajan, O Vaishnava Thakura, you know.
Yeah, so yeah, you're doing, yeah, O Vaishnava, yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, where one of this thing is like, on my own, I'm not going to be able to do it, you know, I run after you, saying Krishna, Krishna.
Yes, so Vandana, it's very important because I think it comes up in Sankalpa Kaumudi unless we've covered it already, that by our own efforts, we can only get so far. We can only by our own efforts, we can hit the glass ceiling. So we need some kripa. To get past that point, we need kripa. So that kripa is very much invoked if you ask for it, if you pray for it, if you feel for it, and you pray for it. And you,
Krishna Prabhu, have a
yes,
question.
mother.
Prabhu, why the taste is not there, Prabhu?
That's the whole. This is what this whole book is about. Yeah, because to one degree or another, we may be making these offenses. Yeah.
Mm.
So that may especially this one. This is perhaps the most common thing that we deal with.
For me, Prabhu, it is a
Inattentive.
starting problem. I have a lot of big starting problem. Once started, it's like an old car. You have a starting problem in cars, you know, Prabhu.
Yeah, but you're saying once you get chanting, then you get into the rhythm of it, you get into the mood and taste of it.
Starting with exactly like a old cars, you know, you had to do a lot of work,
Yeah,
battery charge and everything.
that's it. I think we all have that experience. I mean, for me, I don't really. I at least the first 4 rounds are kind of everywhere. You know, after that 5, 6, you know, I start to, you know, as you said, I start to get into it. But it's something we have to, and that comes up after this chapter as well. It comes up about, let me just skip forward. Where is it? Maintaining the attachment. Ties, but we shouldn't be lazy. It comes up somewhere here. It might be here. So it's the same. It's the same like when I mean I've been on, some of you go on book distribution. It's a big effort to get started, to actually get up there on the street and to start approaching people. It's like climbing up a mountain. But once you do it, once you break the ice, it's like, wow, nectar. So the same with the holy name. We shouldn't just sit back and wait for the holy name to zap us, you know. We have to put quite some effort into it. I think I mentioned this before. Vaishya Shekhar Prabhu, there's a class, I happened to be in New York when he gave a class a few years back, and he gave this one example, like chanting the holy name is like trying to break something. Like when you try and break a coconut, bang, bang, yeah. We keep on trying to get into it, then crack, it gets it. It's a bit like that in chanting, where you keep on Hare Krishna, the mind wanders again. Hare Krishna, the mind wanders. Hare Krishna, the mind wanders. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We keep Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. And that attitude, Krishna observes our effort. Even if our effort is futile, at least it's an effort.
Yeah.
And then Krishna's gonna Yayadamam Papatyante. Krishna will reciprocate.
I was remembering a nice quote from Radhanath Maharaj: just struggle, feeling miserable in chanting is much pleasing to the Lord rather than just being happy without it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's different experiences we have. I mean, one of the experiences, I know my spiritual master speaks of this, is when you are actually getting a taste, when the mercy of the holy name is there, how long can you maintain that concentration when the mercy is there?
Yeah.
And that's the further development. That's because oftentimes you can, even when the mercy is there, you find yourself, you know, how long can you maintain it before you start being inattentive? There's a whole side. I mean, it's a whole science. I mean, chanting is our life and soul. So we've given a life to this science. So it's good to speak about it, you know. Joe, is that your hand up for reading, huh? Or question?
Yeah, both. Not question, but I think in this day and age, it's very difficult to find or do, washing the feet of Vaishnava and drinking it. So I think this particular Where I don't think anybody would allow me, like Mother Chandravali, if I ask her, can I wash your feet? She's not going to allow me to do that.
Yeah, so you have to be a little bit tricky. You have to be a little bit tricky. There's one devotee who was very expert at this. He's Navadvip Prabhu.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Navadvip. His health is not good at the moment, but he would come every year to look after Jagannath.
Jagannath. Oh,
His main thing to get when he was here for 2 weeks was to eat the remnants of the devotees.
Oh,
And he
wow.
would be absolutely determined to get it by hook or by crook, especially senior devotees. He would plan it out. He would see, like, the senior devotee would come the night before, staying, and he's got a plan in his mind the next day. He's got a whole plan.
Yeah.
He's watching him sit down and take breakfast. He's watching very closely what's happening with his plate. It's very... So yeah, you have to be a little bit. Of course, devotee's not going to allow you to wash their feet. Just like Kalidas, none of the Vaishnavas would allow him to take the remnants, but he was a little bit tricky. Yeah. So one of the tricks you see, perhaps you might see some of the brahmacharis where you take in prashadam, and one of them will steal your plate from you just as you finished. Or whisk it away from. There's normally a fight to get the plate back. Trying to get remnants. So you have to be a little bit, you have to plan it out, Mother Sejo.
I'm going to have to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look out, everyone. Sejo's on a mission.
All right. We must have a Sangha now, ladies.
Yeah, she's going to invite you all for Prashadam.
Yes. From all of them.
Yeah. Actually, that's what, one, I'll tell one story here. My Guru Maharaj and Bibi Govinda Maharaj, he tells this story how many years ago, when the Russians first came out of Russia and they first came to Mayapur and Vrindavan, it was a big occasion, as you can imagine, a very emotional occasion. And my Guru Maharaj and Bibi Govinda Maharaj, they invited all the Russians to take prashadam in there. You know, they have that house there. So it was a plan. Both of them hatched this plan to get the remnants of these Russian devotees because of what they've been through. They was very exalted, very exalted Vaishnavas. So they invited them round, big feast, prashad, and they made very firm announcements of how the feast would end and how they're going to clear up. So everyone has to leave your plate there.
Oh,
And you have to leave your plates there. This is the way we're going to do it to clean up. It's going to be a lot easier. There's nowhere to put your plates just yet. So everyone just wash your hands and then you can go. So everyone washed their hands. They left their plates there. My Guru Maharaj and Bibi Govinda Maharaj then dived in and cleaned all the remnants from all the Russian Vaishnavas.
Wow.
So you have to be a little bit tricky. This is where diplomacy and being duplicitous is a favorable. Anyway, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then,
Can I ask like, if say somebody go, somebody goes, oh no, mother, please give me a little bit, give me a little bit. I want something from you, something. And then it goes on for a while, and then you just feel, okay, I'm just going to give you a bit of pakora or something, or a drink or something.
that's up to you. Generally, devotees won't give.
No, they don't, but he just sits there going brahmachari, like, I want it, and I'm not moving.
I said, yeah, that depends on your relationship with the particular devotee.
That's
Yeah,
like
specific relationship.
And what about, Prabhu, when, we get like senior devotees like sannyasis coming and giving classes and this and that.
Yeah.
Are we only supposed to take the remnants of our own Guru Maharaj, or can they distribute? Is that only for Vyasa Puja? Or how can we take the remnants of? Because I thought some people say only the disciples can take the remnants of the spiritual master.
Oh, yeah. It's the senior Vaishnavas, the senior Vaishnavas. Get their remnants, man, disciple or not.
Yeah.
We got lots of little maha from Chandramali Maharaj at the weekend.
Yeah.
Are the
Obviously, the disciples are going to be, they're going to be first in on it.
I
They're going
think
to be first at the
because
plate. But
Jews.
yeah, as far as I've understood, there isn't any restrictions. I haven't, unless anyone's heard that you should only take the remnants of your own spiritual master. No,
Oh.
get the remnants of Vaishnavas. Spirit, even though it may not be a spiritual master.
Mm.
Yeah.
How much faith do you have in the Vaishnavas? How much faith do you have in there?
I steal everybody's remnants if I can. Horrible attitude.
Yeah, but I mean, I have heard people saying that at the temple when they've been distributing Maha from his spiritual master.
They're probably just saying that so that they can get all the Maha themselves.
Yeah.
But there is a limit. Since we've heard this story, Hari Sori tells this, how this question came to Prabhupada, because understanding the glories of Mahaprashadam, what the devotees were doing in San Francisco, I think, is that after all the hippies and everyone had finished the Prashadam, the devotees would eat the remnants. Yeah. These are druggies, and they would eat the remnants with the understanding that Prashad is completely transcendental. So other devotees were not in agreement with it, and the others were. So there was quite some contention between who was in the right. So then eventually, through Harry's, it got Prabhupada. Hari Sori asked Prabhupada. So Prabhupada's answer was, yes, it's Mahaprasad, but who are we? I mean, what level of purity do we have that we can take such remnants and not be affected? So in other words, Prabhupada cautioned about going to that degree, taking the remnants of hippies and non-devotees, even if it was Prashadam. Okay, a very, very advanced Vaishnava, a very pure soul, it will not affect them. But if we're not so advanced, not so powerful, or not so pure, then there's a good chance we may be affected. So there has to be some discrimination there. Yeah. Can you imagine? I can't imagine that after the Sunday feast.
No.
Going around and taking all the remnants, but that's what they was doing. Innocent, in one sense. Innocently, this understanding of the glories of Mahaprashadam. Yeah.
From gurus, you should have faith that you can take it,
Yeah.
Sunday I got little juice from Maharajas at Bhaktivedanta Manor. Someone was distributing. I just ran and give me one sip.
Yeah, that's it. You could go for things.
Yeah.
Keep your hand out. Yeah, learn a lot from Kalidas.
Yeah, perhaps if you find this interesting discussion, if you can read through it, I forget if it's in Majjhila, I think it's in Anchalila, actually. I think you can read it there. Yeah, well, 3 minutes left. Let's perhaps
I remember one of my godbrothers.
We can start next chapter next week, but go on, Nitaimat.
I remember I think I did mention this story before. One of my godbrother was really upset with me because he told me, please serve Pankajangari Prabhu more and more and more.
Please
serve Pankajangari Prabhu more and more.
Yeah.
So I was serving when he came here to UK in a Sangha. So
nice.
I was saying, please, no, I want to finish. And this devotee is pushing me, serve. I don't know what to do. So
serve him Prashadam.
yeah, that because he is saying he will leave it. So it will be Maha for us. So please serve more to Pankajangari Prabhu.
Yeah, that's what sometimes devotees do. You have to be a little bit sensitive as well, Okay, the
I
spiritual
do
master.
serve more
So
because
you load the plate up. If you load the plate up, that can be give the wrong message. You've got to be a bit more.
Yeah, I didn't do it because Prabhu was very particular. He wants to really nicely finish everything. He wants to really he never wanted to have a heap of prasadam. He was very
Yeah, that's the way. Actually, the way to serve prashadam is you give it all. and you just keep going round.
Yeah.
You know, there's a science actually, because if you load up the plate, then it looks so much that it can like
You
it
can't
can
relish
you
it.
feel, yeah, you can't, oh, I'm not going to eat that, it's too. So
Yeah.
that's why you go round and you keep going round. You
Yeah.
serve a little, and you find devotees will generally eat more that way
Yeah.
than if you just load their plate up to the max. Oh, you serve a little, and that's how that's how a lot of senior cultured Vaishnavas, that's how they, you know, that's what they expect. That's what I learned. So I used to serve my Guru Maharaj and other senior devotees here when they would come for meetings. So I learned that you don't put too much on the plate, but you keep filling it up. Then
Yeah. I
don't they?
still remember my parents
Yeah.
never do that. My parents always would say, take little, have it, then come back.
Yeah. All right. So
What
it's
about
6.
that? About
Anything more?
I was thinking about Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu when Advaita Acharya called them to his house and then
Ah.
feeding and feeding, filling his plate. Oh my Lord, no, you can eat, you can eat, you can stop complaining. You can.
Yeah, that's a nice pastime as well.
Yeah, and then you know the
Encourage
remnant.
Lord Chaitanya to eat 10 times the amount he normally eats.
Yes,
Then he said, what is then he said, I've eaten so much. Then he was saying, you eat so much in Puri. He's referring to the
yes,
Jagannath Puri.
yes. So
Yeah, so there's lots of wonderful aspects of our philosophy in regards to prashadam and remnants, etc. There's lots of culture. There's very much, you can learn a lot. The culture of Vaishnavism can very much be seen when it comes to prashadam. You can learn a lot about that culture.
and that's why I love CC because you know the Vaishnav etiquette, the behavior of
Yeah,
each other, the love they have, you know, and how.
yeah.
Which they were more about in there. There was more about how the ladies were, what they were doing behind the scene. But this is all about the public, you know.
So,
Yeah,
It would be
My
nice
Guru
to-
Maharaj, my Guru Maharaj been speaking about that when he's speaking about the tours of Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, I've been listening to
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, so no doubt, just like now, when a senior Vaishnava comes, there's normally a whole gang of ladies going crazy cooking.
Cooking,
So,
yes, yes.
yeah, so it's the same. It's the same when Lord Chaitanya and his associates. No,
Would
no,
there
all
be-
the
yeah,
wives of the all the wives of the followers of Lord Chaitanya, they're all probably in great ecstasy, cooking different preparations, etc.
would they be in the kirtan and hearing katha and things like that? I just think like that, you know.
Yeah,
Sometimes.
it's no doubt they will be hearing kirtan. The same, much the same as us, I would think. You know,
Mhm.
ladies dance in their side, men dance in the other side. Of course, because Lord Chaitanya was a sannyasi, so obviously there was restrictions there. Anyway,
Okay.
it's a good study to do. So, okay, thank you, everyone. Nice. We went off the tangent a little bit on Mahaprasad and remnants in that last paragraph. But next week, this is a very interesting chapter, chanting inattentively, and he breaks down the different aspects of being inattentive here. So we'll look at that next week. Yeah, here, see this paragraph here.
Yeah.
Jada means laziness, vikshepa, distraction, udatsinya, apathetic. So we'll look at that next week. Okay. Okay, thank you, everyone. Wonderful discussion. Hope
I
it's lifted
can't.
our spirits.
I won't be able to join tomorrow. I have to go to a silly funeral.
Oh, no problem. The show will go on. Hare
I
Krishna.
know. I just tell everybody. So
Yeah.
thank you.
We're
Okay,
very
so
sad.
tomorrow we have Bhagavatam Rita. Wishing you all well. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Shri Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.